In 1984, a teenage girl walked down the stairs of her family home and never came back. For the next 24 years, the world believed she had run away. Her family mourned her. Her name slowly faded from memory. But she was never gone. She was alive, locked beneath the very house she grew up in, a prisoner of her own father. This is the story of how an ordinary house on a quiet street became a tomb for the living. The house stood on a peaceful, unremarkable street. No broken windows, no overgrown yard, no screams in the night. It was the picture of suburban normalcy. The father was known in the community as a strict, controlling man, but otherwise ordinary. He was a creature of habit, a man who followed routines. No one had any reason to question him. Beneath this facade of predictability, he had engineered a secret world. He had built a concrete cellar, sealed behind heavy steel doors, soundproofed and hidden from everyone, including his own wife and the rest of his family who lived just one floor above. This was not an impulsive crime. It was meticulously planned, a cold and calculated act of cruelty waiting for the right moment. That moment arrived on a seemingly normal night. The father told his 18-year-old daughter he needed her help carrying something heavy into the basement. Trusting him, she followed him down the stairs. Then, the heavy door slammed shut behind her. She heard the distinct, final sound of locks turning, plunging her into complete darkness. She was just 18 years old, on the cusp of adulthood. From that moment forward, she ceased to exist to the outside world. She had vanished, not into thin air, but into a concrete box just a few feet beneath her family's feet. Her life as she knew it was over. The basement was a cramped, desolate space. The ceiling was so low she couldn't stand up straight. There were no windows, no natural light, no connection to the world outside. A crude ventilation system provided just enough air to breathe. Food and water were brought down secretly, usually in the dead of night when the rest of the household was asleep. In this suffocating darkness, days blended into nights, weeks into months, and years passed without the changing of seasons. She lived in a state of constant, gnawing fear, never knowing when the door would creak open, or what horrors awaited her when it did. Meanwhile, just a few feet above her head, life carried on with an unsettling normality. She could hear the muffled sounds of birthdays being celebrated, of holiday dinners, of casual family conversations. The mundane rhythm of the world she was stolen from played out like a distant, painful echo. While her family lived their lives, she survived in utter silence and isolation, a ghost in her own home. Her existence was a secret buried under layers of concrete and lies. Her captor, her father, controlled every single aspect of her life. The light, the food, the suffocating silence. He was her jailer, her only human contact, and the architect of her psychological torment. He fed her a steady diet of lies designed to break her spirit and extinguish any hope of escape. He would tell her, "No one is looking for you. They've all forgotten you." He'd threaten her, saying, "If you ever try to escape, or if anyone finds you, everyone you love will die." And he'd reinforce her imprisonment with a twisted sense of belonging. "This is your home now. You belong here with me." This was more than just physical confinement. It was a systematic campaign of psychological domination meant to erase her identity and shatter her will to resist. And yet, through it all, she endured. The years stretched into an unthinkable eternity. A decade passed, then another. She aged underground, her body deprived of sunlight and fresh air, her mind forced to adapt to the crushing weight of total isolation. To keep from losing herself completely, she created small routines. She would talk to herself for hours, just to hear the sound of a voice. She clung desperately to memories of her life before, replaying them over and over so they wouldn't dissolve into the darkness. The world above her was transforming. Technology advanced, culture shifted, and an entire generation grew up. But for her, time was frozen in the dim, stale air of her concrete prison. She was a woman out of time, trapped in a moment that had stretched into a 24-year nightmare. But after more than 2 decades, something finally shifted. Her captor was growing older. His strength was fading, his control becoming less absolute. He grew careless. A small mistake, a moment of weakness, created a tiny crack in the fortress he had built. An opportunity appeared. It was small, incredibly dangerous, but it was real. For the first time in 24 years, a sliver of hope cut through the darkness. A message got out. Someone from the outside world was alerted to a terrible secret hidden within the house. When the police finally entered the home, they were responding to a strange and disturbing tip. At first, everything seemed normal. But as they investigated, they uncovered something so monstrous it was almost impossible to believe. Behind a hidden panel, down a secret set of stairs, they found the steel doors. And behind those doors, they found the prison. They found evidence of long-term captivity. And most shockingly, they found a woman who had been reported missing since the 1980s. She was pale, weak, but she was alive. The man responsible, the respected family patriarch, was arrested immediately. The case sent shockwaves through the nation and then the entire world. The story of the girl in the basement was finally brought into the light. Freedom, when it finally came, did not erase the profound damage. Emerging after 24 years in darkness, the world was an overwhelming assault on her senses. Bright light was painful. The normal sounds of a city were deafening. Even simple human interaction was terrifying. Her body and mind had to relearn how to exist in a world she no longer recognized. But she was finally safe. Her voice was finally heard. Her story was finally believed. The journey to healing would be long, perhaps a lifetime, but her captivity was over. She was free. This story is not a movie plot. It is not a work of fiction. This happened in a normal neighborhood, right behind closed doors. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the most horrifying crimes are not the loud and violent ones, but the ones committed in absolute silence. And it proves that sometimes, in the face of unimaginable darkness, survival itself is the bravest act of all. If you or someone you know is struggling, please remember that help is available. There are resources and people who want to support you. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing for more stories that deserve to be told.